Welcome to the Healing Place podcast, a space filled with inspirational stories of hope, along with practical advice for your healing journey. Your host is Teri Wellbrock, trauma warrior, writer, speaker, blogger, therapy dog handler, and founder of the Sammy's Bundles of Hope project. As a survivor and a thriver, Teri's mission is to shine the light of hope into the world by interviewing insightful guests from across the globe. Please stay tuned at the end of today's interview as we honor our sponsors. The Healing Place podcast is a fiscally sponsored project of Fractured Atlas. Now, here's your host and trauma warrior, Teri Wellbrock.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Healing Place podcast. I'm so glad to have you here with me today and very excited to have with me today, and I'm going to pronounce this beautiful name, My-thray-yee. Is that right?
Perfect.
All right. And Meliana?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Woohoo! I'm so glad. I know I'm probably butchering it, and it's much more beautiful rolling off of your tongue.
You did great.
Thank you. So you are a holistic therapist, women's empowerment and spiritual teacher, sound healing educator, speaker, and author. And I'm just enamored by all of that. So welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Teri. It's great to be here.
Thank you. And we're going to talk about the power of sound healing, which I'm fascinated to learn about. I told you before I hit record, I really haven't had anybody on to talk about the power of music with healing and diving into that. And the sound healing, I'm very fascinated by, and I want to learn more about that. And then the spiritual gifts of trauma. Like, I just think it's fascinating because we think of trauma as, such a horrible thing, but to find, and I have actually said to people before, I found the gifts within the chaos. And so, I'm just excited to learn from you. So, so tell people who you are and what it is you do.
Great. Thank you. Well, again, it's really lovely to be here with you. So I'm Mytrae Meliana, and as you said, I'm a holistic psychotherapist, a women's empowerment and spiritual teacher, a sound healing educator, a speaker, and an author. So I do a couple of things. One is I lead women's empowerment and spiritual programs for women to find their voice, their power, their heart, and their purpose, and to connect with the divine feminine. So that's one leg of the work. The other piece is I teach sound healing workshops to health and wellness practitioners and now to social justice organizations. And we specialize in sound healing for trauma.
Yeah. Sounds amazing. Now, when you say sound healing, is that like, the sound bowls, and is that what it is?
That's part of what it is. So sound healing is a very broad term. And sound, just to take you back a little bit in time, it was always used by ancient cultures, indigenous traditions to heal. Sound and the arts and movement were very much a part of healing because sound works with the whole body. If you think about the last time you went to the ocean or sat under a tree where there was this beautiful breeze blowing, you can hear, or the sound of birds, right? We feel it, we resonate with it. And so all of us respond to that. And now if you think of a time when you were maybe in a really crowded city street with cars honking and congestion, and the feel of that is so different. So our bodies, and so that's the interesting thing about sound is we're not just hearing with our ears, but we're hearing with our whole bodies. And so sound healing is across, you can use practically any instrument for sound healing.
Okay.
Right now, the crystal singing bowls kind of are having their moment.
Yeah, right. That's why I brought it up, because I walk into places, and I'm even talking, I went to visit my son in Denver, and we had gone up into Estes Park, and we went into just a cute little shop, and there was this whole section with these bowls, and obviously we were trying, and it was beautiful and very peaceful, but there they were in the middle of like just a tourist shop.
Yeah, that's great. That's so great. Yeah. So they're everywhere. But you can use any instrument, drums. I use piano, chimes, any musical instrument, and the voice is a profound instrument for sound healing that anybody can use.
Beautiful. Now, I know, is it also the same? I've done some meditations that were sounds. And so certain sounds that I would make and draw out that sound, is that part of it as well?
Yes. So
Okay.
essentially, we're using sound and vibration to heal.
Okay.
And the person's own voice, the client's own voice or anybody's voice is a very powerful instrument that they have. And it's not about singing. We associate sound coming from our mouths as either speaking or singing, right? But even just the simple sound of, right?
Yeah.
It's a sound. So sound is sounding as opposed to singing. And that's, I think a lot of people, self-included, I'm not a singer, but we can use our voices. And that's a really powerful instrument that all of us have.
Right, right. I know when I did the sound meditations, like I could feel the vibration coming down through my whole body. And I remember telling one of my friends who's a therapist, and I said, the rest of the day, I said, I don't know if like I opened my third eye, I don't know what happened, but I could feel like almost a vibration coming from the middle of my forehead. And it was very peaceful. And it was I mean, at first it was a little unsettling because I was like, what the heck is happening? But then I just realized it was very calming.
Yeah, it's very calming. And that's so good for our nervous systems.
Yeah.
It relaxes our nervous systems, especially now, but even otherwise, our lives are full of stress. And just to have, even if it's half an hour of that, just like people go for the yoga practice or the exercise, if you can incorporate literally relaxation, if you think of it as relaxation, an hour of relaxation a week,
Right.
it would be profound for our health, physical health, emotional well-being, mental health, and spiritual health.
Yeah, for sure. Now, do you work with people and guide people through this?
I do. I work with individuals and groups as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So I offer sound healing events and then I offer the workshops. Yeah. And I teach people how to do this.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, I'll give you an opportunity when we close out to direct people on where they can find you and how they can connect with you.
Okay, great.
Wonderful.
Great.
Awesome. All right. So now music as well is also very healing. And you say you play piano. Is that also something you work with people on?
I do. I'm trained as a classical pianist. And so I have that. But some years ago, I had a spiritual awakening and this healing music started coming through when I never could improvise before. So I use that as part of my sound healing events. And, when we were in person, I would have people come lie under my piano. Yeah, it's really cool because
That's so cool.
Yeah. And a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's the thing about sound healing. It's fun. It's an enjoyable experience. We typically think of healing as, I have to go to the therapist kind of thing, but to enjoy so much beauty and peace and have that be healing is just a wonderful experience.
Wow, that's I would totally sign up for that. It sounds amazing. Again, I think just the vibration, and I'm that person that walks outside, and if the birds are singing and the crickets are chirping, and I live by the ocean. We recently moved near the ocean, and yeah, it's just incredibly peaceful.
Yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. So spiritual gifts of trauma. Let's dive into that a little bit.
So that has, I think, come from my very own personal experience. So my own healing from trauma. And of course, I was in therapy and, never even dreamt of anything like the gifts of trauma. I always thought it was this horrible thing that happened to me.
Right.
And why did this, had all the questions that so many people with trauma have. And I got diagnosed with Lyme disease just out of the blue very quickly. and very severe symptoms.
Oh.
And this was in 2009. And I did some deep work, really getting to the cause of it. And what I came to was that I wasn't in my power as a woman. And so I tried everything holistic. And I even went to Brazil to a spiritual healing center there. I didn't know anything about it other than my partner had been, and he said it was amazing. There I healed my worst symptoms went away in 2 days. It was incredible. And I had profound, profound emotional healing, the likes of which I don't think I would have if I'd stayed the rest of my life in therapy. It's just a different paradigm, you know?
Yeah.
And so there, how it works in Brazil is they actively work with spirit. So in any healing center, they have a medical hospital or a clinic, and then they have a mental health clinic, and then they have a spiritual health clinic. So they literally do treat mind, body, spirit.
Yeah.
And here, you know, there's just my intuition just opened, and the shifts were just profound. And at one point, there's a beautiful waterfall there, and I stood under the waterfall, and I felt this rock dislodge from my heart, and then I felt literally, even though I was in the water, I felt like water flowing through my heart, and I knew then that these were the waters of forgiveness.
Oh.
And you know, I never dreamt that I could, because I was so in the angst of it and the questioning of it and the wound of the trauma, that it was this literally somatic experience where that went away, or all of that was shifted to reveal that I forgave my family, really, who it was. And then it led to this profound discovery of the whole, of seeing this from a spiritual perspective, seeing all my events, the challenging events of my life, especially the traumas. It led to my looking at my life from my soul's perspective.
Oh.
That indeed I had come in to experience these challenges for me to grow first with self-love. And then to forgive, because in the forgiveness, I set myself free.
Yes.
You know, and it was so profound, because, I mean, they literally showed me an image of putting my axe down. That enough of battle now, it's, you know, can let go of it. And also just opening up to looking at everything from my family's perspective, from where they were at that point in time and who they were as people. And being able to see, previously I had been looking at trauma just from my perspective, and then psychology's perspective, which was, it can be, you know, sort of fault finding to a certain degree. But this experience shifted me to the collective experience of who were these people at their point in their evolution.
Yeah.
And the wild and crazy interaction of their wounds and my wounds, or our limitations. And that the journey, that life's journey, was not just what happened, but what do we learn from it, and how do we grow from it?
Yeah.
And how did they grow from it? You know, so it's a life-changing experience to see that from a soul's perspective. And I come from India, so I believe in past lives, and that's just my frame. So I knew I had come in to work on my sense of power, and also I had come in as a healer, that I had to go through something very challenging for me to heal. And only in that process would I really be able to work with people, to know exactly what they were going through and to lead them out of what they had been through, because I'd been there as well.
Yeah. Beautiful. And I love it. And I agree with you. My forgiveness journey was a different route, but still a forgiveness journey. And I remember the moment of just, it was almost like the shadow lifted and it just came off of me. And yeah, it really does. And now when I talk and speak and give my presentations, I talk about the fact that, you know, I didn't know, in particular, to a violent act on this particular person that I was thinking of. I'd been through a lot of trauma, but this particular person, I said, you know, I don't know what his journey was. I don't know why he chose this dark path, and you know why he did what he did. And so I did. I kind of shifted to not really justify his actions, but just look at it from a totally different perspective of not knowing his journey. Was he abused? Had he been through horrific trauma? What was his trauma story? And then I was able to let it go. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And so powerful and so freeing.
Yes.
So freeing.
Yeah, for sure. That's beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing your journey as well.
Sure.
Yeah. And again, I mean, there are gifts to be found. Like you said, what can we learn from this? I love how you worded that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I did learn was that it's ultimately love. It's ultimately love. And I know for myself that my journey has been to know love, not just for myself, but can I truly love, and not in a Pollyanna way, not in a spiritual bypassing way. You know, this is not to take away what happened or what, you know, the pain and the suffering, but we are all flawed and we are all children. And somewhere in the people who do, you know, create acts that are violent, in there are just really painfully wounded children.
Yeah.
And to see that, I think, you know, I think we as a collective, we can just develop more compassion. And I know it's a journey. I also want to say it's not easy. And I don't advocate premature forgiveness. I think we have to go through the full process of all the emotions and acknowledging everything that happened. But, you know, if and when it does happen, I think it's really a gift.
Yes. Oh, for sure. I mean, I certainly count it as a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. All right. So is there anything else that you wanted to share with people today about healing, about music, about trauma?
Let's see. Well, I do want to say that, excuse me, I think sound is so powerful for healing because it works in a completely different paradigm. And, you know, people can hum or sing or play an instrument or sing along with a song on the radio or just even have music in the background, you know, and it just changes the environment, especially now in the times of high stress. You know, even if they want to get up and dance to the music, I think it shifts us into a more relaxed, happier place. And I found it to be extraordinarily profound for trauma. So quick, so rapid, so effective. It's blown my mind.
Yes. It's so very true. Yeah, I get it. And most of the time right now, I listen to very meditative nature sound kind of music because I just find it very soothing and peaceful. But yeah, I'll jam out in the car and, you know, sing there where no one else can hear me. Yeah. And it can shift, you know, it can shift your whole mood.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Yeah. Wonderful. So how do people get in touch with you? Where do they find you?
Yeah, so they can go to either of my websites. My website for my women's work is my name, My-thray-Meliana.com. So I can spell that. It's MYTRAEMELIANA.com. And my sound healing website is templeofsoundhealing.com.
Wonderful. And again, they can sign up for, are you doing any webinars? Are you doing classes?
I'm doing women's programs. I'm doing crystal singing bowl classes and trainings. So yeah, they can sign up for that. I also have a book. I recently published my memoir,
Oh,
which is my
yeah.
journey out of trauma to healing and empowerment. So that's available too. It's called Brown Skin Girl, and that's available as well on my website.
Yeah, I meant to bring that up, and I love the title because it's Brown Skin Girl, an Indian American woman's magical journey from broken to beautiful, and that the title just resonated with me.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm
such
glad.
a beautiful title.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And yeah, kudos to you for sharing your story. I'm in the midst of finishing a book, and it's about 90% done, and now I'm at my stuck point,
Oh.
getting past that last hurdle of, yes, I need to put this out there. I need to put this out there. And so, yeah, I admire you for having the courage to put it out there.
Thank you. And kudos to you for being 90% done. I know what it's like that last. Oh.
Right, that last little bit. And I've been stuck there forever. So
you will get through it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, this has just been such a joy to have you here with me. And I'm so glad we connected. Thank you.
I am too. Thank you so much for having me, Teri. It's been lovely to see you and meet you.
Yes, wonderful. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us on the podcast today. Please know that you can still listen to the Pandemic Self-Care series on the Facebook page if you go there. Really exciting news I just found out yesterday, and I put it out there on social media. The podcast has now been downloaded in 70 countries. So I love the idea that this message is reaching so many people across the world. And so, yeah, you can check it out on YouTube or any of the audio sites, Pandora, iTunes, Spotify, trying to think of some Deezer, Google Podcasts. So, yeah, just Google the Healing Place Podcast and you'll find us. So, all right. Well, until next time, remember, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening today to the Healing Place Podcast with your host and trauma warrior, Teri Wellbrock. If you enjoyed this episode and want to learn more about Teri, her mission, and the Hope for Healing journey, visit Teri's website at www.teriwellbrock.com. Thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, and offering your reviews on our YouTube channel, audio outlets, and Facebook page. And as Teri reminds us, until next time, remember, be gentle with yourself.